So imagine that you wake up, it's 6 a.m. in the morning, and you wake up and you check your bank account and you see that all your savings is completely gone. Or you went to work in the morning as usual, and then your manager calls you or the HR calls you and say, you know what, we have to let you go, and you don't have any other backup. Or you wake up one morning and discover that your payment processor for your business just freezes all your payment and say, you know what, this thing, we discover that it's fraudulent, we're going to hold your money. Or you wake up and your business is no more, you lose everything, you lose your customers, you lose everything, and that completely shattered your entire life. Has this ever happened to you? If it has not happened to you, it will, because every one of us at some point would hit rock bottom. Life always happens. Or it could even be that you saw that you are currently in debt because a family member or you yourself had to go through a health challenge that you never planned for, and you are down to complete zero. There is nothing for you to be able to hold back to. Whatever the reason is right now that you are at complete zero, I don't want you to see it as the end point. I want you to see it as the beginning, because starting from zero is one of the most powerful positions you can be in. You are not just going to hear from somebody that is talking theory. I've lived this. I literally lost everything. I lost my business. I lost my company. I lost my friends. I lost my father. I lost everything. I was down to not just zero, I was in debt. Literally, all my account was in minus. I could not pay a lot of things. I could not pay my staff. Every single thing. So what do you do when you are down to zero? How do you rebuild back in the next 30 days or next 30 to 90 days? Let me even make it worse. Let's assume you don't even have a job to fall back to. What do you do? This video is for you. If you want to know how to be able to step by step exactly how I've rebuilt myself from zero all over again, and how you can rebuild yourself after you've lost everything, how you can step by step, how you can be able to rebuild yourself, then I'm going to let you know how. So right now, whatever season you are, I want you to know that there is hope for you. But there is hope for a tree that if it's cut down at the scent of water, what the word of the Lord says, that it will sprout again. So wherever you are, I want you to save this video, because trust me, life always happens. Someone said to me, a mentor said to me, financial freedom is not that you have things stuck up there. Financial freedom is the ability to know that even if you lose everything today, you would get it back, and you would even get back times 100 where you are coming from. So it's not just the fear of, I don't want to lose everything. No. Because something can happen that you lose everything. I have a mentor that went through the same thing. They froze his entire account. He had nothing to bank on. I have friends that have made millions of dollars and overnight they went bankrupt. But guess what? That is not your story. Even if that happened to you, it's not who you are. So your ability for you to be able to rebuild back is exactly what I will share with you. How I rebuild back. The women I've mentored, the women that I have seen come down to zero, how I've guided them to rebuild back their life and build back their finances if they lost everything today, is exactly what I want to share with you in this video as well too. Now, before I go ahead and tell you any strategic action that you have to be able to take, anything that you have to be able to do, let's talk about a mental reset. Before I talk about any money move, go ahead, do this, do that, I need to talk about your mind, because nothing else is going to work if this part fails. When a financial disaster hits you, usually your brain enters into a threat mode. Cortisol spikes, and usually your decision-making ability degrades naturally. So most people in their financial crisis end up making worse decisions within the first 72 hours or even the first month. And I did that as well too. Because you are in panic, you are anxious, especially when you have bills to pay, especially when the debtors are knocking, especially when they are threatening you with court cases, or especially when you are seeing things that are threatening you every single time. Your cortisol spikes, and then you are in panic mode. Your mind is not settled. So what I need you to do right now, before any hustle, before any strategy, I need you to regulate your nervous system. Joy, how do I regulate my nervous system to be able to calm down? You're going to take a deep breath in, hold your breath for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, then breathe out. Do that at least 4 times and just calm down. Do what? Calm down and say to yourself, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write it down, or you can say to yourself, listen, I have survived hard things before. And everybody watching me right now, it doesn't matter how bad it has been. You have survived hard things before. This will not be any different. I will come out of this. As long as you are alive, it does not matter. You will come out of it. The second thing is you tell yourself, I have skills. And don't worry, if in case you're just wondering, Joe, I don't have any skills. I'll tell you, I have skills that people are going to pay for. And the third is, I know what to do and I'm doing it right now. Repeat those three things to yourself over and over again till your mind is calm. Now, there's something I want to do. I usually do. And I do not recommend that you do it, but usually it helps me. Sometimes I shut down notifications. You see those notifications, those things, people calling you, threatening you, especially if you have a team that works for you and they are like there's panic mode everywhere. Your job as a leader is not to join them in panic. You need to retreat. For me, I shut down every single thing. I don't need noise around me right now. I shut down every single thing. I reassure my team, even though I don't know how we're going to come out of this. I reassure them we're going to come out of this. And for me, people always complain that, Joe, you end up ghosting. I said, no, that's how, for me, I retreat. I shut down everything. I'm seeing messages that are making my anxiety rise up. I just don't look at it. Do not disturb mode throughout. And so that I can be able to calm myself down and think strategically what my next step is going to be. Because there's a high temptation that you're going to be tempted. So this is exactly what you are. So you're going to repeat those things to yourself, that you have survived hard times before and this will not be a different one. The second thing is you already have skills somebody is going to pay for. And the third thing is that I know exactly what I'm doing right now. If you are not calm, I assure you make silly mistakes, and I did same and it costed me a whole lot. So the mindset you carry when you are in crisis mode determines whether you're going to rebuild back in the next 30 days or if it will stretch for the next 3 or 5 years. So you have to choose your mindset first. The second mindset that I need you to do is to drop this thing called shame. If you are down to 0, you have to literally drop this thing called what? Shame. You cannot afford to say, well, people say, you cannot afford to be that right now. You have to be able to be willing to do anything to get back on track. I don't mean anything illegal, but I mean anything. And so if you're looking at what will people say, how will people see me, no, because that's what stops a lot of people. The perception of what will people say. Drop shame. If you're down to 0, except if there is no immediate consequence. If you know you are down to 0 and you know that in the next 30 days I pay my rent or I'm out of here or I'm homeless, then you have to drop this thing called shame. You have to become shameless and do whatever it takes. Shame is an illusion. It doesn't exist. Whether you do what you're supposed to do or you do not do what you're supposed to do, people will always talk. And guess what? If they're not paying your bills, their opinions do not matter. If they're not paying your bills, their opinions do not matter. So the other thing I want you to know is, in your mind, is that this is a phase. This is going to determine whether you're going to stay in this for 3 months or it's going to stretch for an entire 10 years. Understand that it's a phase. Understand that what? It's a phase. I did something. I said the power of the basement. People do not for me, I had to know that being down, in fact, my basement was my deliverance period. Do you understand? So if you know that this is a phase, you're going to drop this thing called shame and do what you have to do to get back on track. This is a phase. It's not going to last long. So I'm going to give you a 30-day rebuild blueprint, the exact framework. And listen, I'm going to give you exactly what to do step by step. Phase 1 is to assess your reality. Don't lie to yourself. Right now, there is nothing. You're at your point 0. Write it down. What do I actually have right now? Right now, what is the current reality? If you have a team, if you're in business, you have a team. Listen, a new government policy came up and our supplies were cut by over 80%. This is the reality, because it will help you be able to see things clearly. What are the actual expenses? What can we do to be able to survive this crisis period? If it's your personal life, you got laid off from the job, this is my reality. I don't have a job. I don't have any backup plan anyway. And the other thing you have to do is to move yourself. Once you've assessed your reality, what reality does is that it gives you clarity. Right? Most people women in financial crisis do not actually count the exact number. What are your numbers? Count it. It's sometimes, there was time I was in a crisis mode where I sure you lost everything. My house where I was staying had a fire accident, everything. And I remember my friend Uche saying to me that I should just calm down and assess it. Sometimes when you sit down and assess it, it's not as bad as you look. And then he told me then that there was time he got robbed, he lost everything, and he went back home. And then sometimes the enemy makes this thing look like one huge thing. And he sat back and he said, hey, this is where I am right now. I've lost everything, but it's not as bad as it looks. I still have a roof over my head. Do you understand? So sit down, analyze the number. What exactly happened? How much do I have right now? How much is in the savings account? How much do we have right now as a business? Be honest. You can't move forward if you're not honest with where you are. That's your first step of deliverance. And the other step is for you to move out of survivor mode. And I'm going to explain. Listen, remember what I said to you? Understand that it's a phase. It's what? It's a phase that's going to what? Pass. It doesn't matter if it takes 1 year, 2 years, but we don't want it to extend for that long. But this is where a lot of people, especially people that have been used to a particular lifestyle, but you will know that if you don't pay the mortgage, your house is about to go through a foreclosure. This is your reality. And while you're trusting for a miracle, this is it. Cut down on what needs to be cut down. Right now, your only need is for you to have a roof over your head, for you to at least feed, and for you to just have something. It doesn't have to be fancy, have clothes. This is where the 3 basic needs of man come into it. When you talk about the hierarchy of need, leave the top pinnacle, the pyramid, and the basic one, food, clothing, shelter. This house is expensive for us. This is very hard. It was also hard for me. And because I didn't want people to see me less, I ended up getting more and more into debt. Do we have to move back into my mom's place? Ask yourself that. Maybe you and your husband are in a financial crisis. This is where we are. It's a phase. It will pass. But how fast it's going to pass depends on how well you're able to handle it right now. Ask yourself, right now, we can't afford to pay with this house anymore. Let's sell it off. Let's move to a smaller house. Remember, it's not what forever. What? It's a phase. Right now, let's move to a basement. Let's move to my mom's basement. I've lost everything, but I know I can rebuild again. Let's move there. It's a what? Phase. It won't last forever. So what I'm saying that because you need these 3 basic needs to be able to function and think strategically. I remember my partner saying to me, said, before I was able to rebuild my business again, when I was juggling, I didn't have a home of my to stay. I couldn't think. I was making silly, costly mistakes because I was in crisis mode. I was in anxiety. I was making silly, costly that ended up getting me more and more into more trouble. But the moment I had the roof over my head, the moment I had that, at least it's not your ideal life, I get it, but it gives some form of stability. So sometimes some of you might need to move back. You might need to squat with a friend because what? It's a phase. You might need to move from that expensive building, sell your house, move back into a small apartment. No, you are going to bounce back. Trust me, you will bounce back. You will get your spark back. You will get it back times 100. But for now, just because when that need is basic and you have it, then you can be able to think strategically. How can we move forward from here? Then you can start rebuilding again. Once you have done that, the next thing is for you to sit down and identify at least 3 valuable skills you have. And don't worry if you're saying, Joy, I don't have any valuable skills. That's fine. 3 valuable skills you have. What are the things that people need? I didn't say your passion. What are the things that people need that they will be more than willing to pay for without thinking twice? So, not just things that people are good at, things that people would pay for. Emphasis on the word pay for. So, coaching, consulting, writing, lead generation, sales, marketing, bookkeeping, organizing, cooking, childcare. Those are people's pain point. Some of them don't have the time to do it. Write them down, just 3 or 2. If you're saying to me, Joy, I don't have any skills, that's fine. Write down any top 3 skills people are going to pay for. Write down top 3 skills people are going to pay for. I'm going to tell you how to get those skills. You don't have to go ahead and start learning hours. Because right now, you don't have, what you need is cash flow. It's not the time for you to establish a business. It's not the time for you to go and get stock and go and buy stock. This is not the time for you to go and start maybe a YouTube channel or social media, because that takes time. It does what? It takes time to be able to, except if you have a full backup plan, know that for the next 1 year, you are going to be okay. If that's, and then you can go ahead and do your long-term plan. So write them down. That's what I want you to do right now. What are the top 3 skills? That if you are going, you will not think twice to give somebody the money to do. Like I said, example, coaching, consulting, right? Even in this advent of AI right now, AI skill, bookkeeping, cooking, childcare, cleaning, marketing. Selling is one thing, and I know that will never go out of fashion no matter what happens. People want to make sales. Write them down. So once you have done that, your next job right now is not to try and build a brand or a business. You need cash flow. You need cash flow. So it's not to try and set up a funnel. You need to generate cash. So you pick one out of all of them, something that you can do. If you cannot be able to do it, that's fine. I'll tell you what to do. And offer one service, please, one at a time, so you don't get distracted at this phase. And you reach out to people. So people are the ones that buy. I usually would recommend this: target business or high net worth individuals, rich people. So if I were you, I would ask, what is it that rich people actually want? And how can I be able to give them what they want? Because they are the ones with the money. They are the ones that can pay you. And what you need right now is what? Is cash. So you want to focus on something that they can see the impact, they can see the return on investment almost immediately. Not something that takes time, that they have to go and start thinking about. No. It could be a luxury cleaning services. It could be anything. Right? So 2 ways, how can I be able to reach these people? Number 1, look at your existing contacts. Yes, I know. That's why I said you have to delete shit completely from your dictionary. Because if you're someone that maybe people have seen you in a particular light, and now you have to go and get your hands dirty again to start working, you have to delete shame from your dictionary. In fact, people actually love transparency more. So I'm sure you have contacts. Reach out to your immediate contacts if they need anything. They didn't want someone to come cook for them, offer to do that. You didn't want somebody to come clean their house, offer to do that. You didn't want someone to come wash your car, offer to do that. Meal prep. Don't say strategic session and how you can make your next $1 million. They may not pay for that. Someday they can see the immediate return. They want someone to come help them move, offer to do that. They will pay you in exchange. They didn't want someone to help them with marketing and sales. What we did, I was already in marketing, sales. What did most businesses struggle with? The same thing, marketing and sales. And so I reached out to people that are already in business. The first were, I think it was med spas, cosmetic doctor and dentist and the likes. And I said, look, I can help you out with your marketing. Did I get a lot of no's? Of course. In fact, the no's were a lot of no's. Initially, I had some money. I was trying to say, let me try and run ads. But if you want to do that, you will just end up burning yourself. So I said, you know what? I can do this thing, and this is what businesses need. You will hear people tell you no. That's fine. That's why I said you have to. In the initial time, I told you, remove shame from your dictionary, because you have to get your hands dirty to rebuild again. I'm not going to go about job this time, but if it to be another video that said get a job, go ahead and get a job just to get income coming. But what if you don't have access to that? And sometimes when you even get a job, before you start, the next 2-3 weeks before they do orientation, so it's not like you can start immediately. So this is another option for you. So take that temporary contract, take that freelance job, and if you cannot be able to do it, you don't have the skill to do that, go and hire someone that can do it, and then you take your course inside. I knew someone that did something like this. She had access to the corporate environment. They needed something. She didn't have that. What did she do? She went to go and meet someone that could do it. In fact, one of the contracts I got was from a friend. She could not do the contract, and then she told me to do it. And in exchange, I collected my commission. So that's another way that you can be able to get things done. If you know something that people are going to pay for, and you don't know, you don't have that capacity, go and meet those that have the capacity. Tell them if it's for $1,000, tell the person it's $2,000, you collect your cost inside. This thing called leverage is important. You know how to use leverage, because that's how you get wealthy. And you don't have to have everything all figured out. Leverage is important. You have an audience already and need something, you don't have it. There are people that already have it. Go and partner with them. I have an audience, I'm going to pay you this, and they will pay you in exchange. Of course, it's even on both sides. You have something already. There is always, what is my favorite quote? There's always what? A jar of oil. God does not leave you empty. The widow said, I don't have anything, but what? That little jar of oil. That's all God needs. And what did the prophet say? He said, go ahead and borrow vessels. It doesn't have to be that you have to get into debt. That go ahead and borrow vessels could mean that leverage on what people already have. Collaborate. If you have that network in your circle. Most people build things without, there's nothing being built. Sometimes all they have is to talk. I know about a friend that lost everything, but he knows about real estate, and he told them, look, we're going to build this. Give me your money. We're going to build this. And they gave him. So leverage on what you already have. Offer something people would need. This is not time for you to start going building something that will take a long time before you see return on investment. So reduce, while you are getting cash flow, reduce outflow. Like I said earlier, cancel what needs to be cancelled. Pause what needs to be paused. There are times you might need to pause some things, not because it's not important, but just for this season. Remember what I said, it's a phase that will pass. Now that the next step is to build the bridge. So now that you're already having a little bit of breathing room, it might not be much, it might just be small, it might be $100 here, $200 here, just a little bit. Now that you can now start building the bridge to build something much more sustainable to get you back on track. So now you are going to take that valuable skill and package it as an offer. Now you're going to ask yourself, how can I reach more customers? How can I be able to reach more people? I'm not saying going to go and run ads. Don't run ads. Now you can now start thinking, how can I reach more people? Now I can start having a social media presence. But for now, sometimes what we have to do, I just told my partner, I said, you're going to drive around all the business in this city. Somebody will say yes. There's something I learned from door-to-door knocking. There was time I did a sales job where I had to do door-to-door knocking. It was a season of my life I had to do that. It's something I learned from a lady that was, when I was learning from her, she said something. I don't waste time, and that thing changed my life forever. She said, I don't waste time trying to beg somebody to do something. And when they say no, I back off. And something like, you should convince them, say no. Because the more doors I knock on, the more I know that there is no how somebody will say yes without me having to beg. And it worked. She was one of the top salesperson at that time. She was doing exceptionally well. So find a way. The more people you are able to reach, I told my partner, I said, it's a game of numbers sometimes. The more people are able to reach, the more you stop begging for scraps. I made this mistake in business. I was getting little here and there. But focus on the more people you're able to reach, the more you don't beg for scraps. So then you start building something that is much more sustainable. How can we reach more people? So package it into an offer. Be specific on what problem are you solving. Say it loud, post it. Then you can talk about social media. Start building your audience. It won't happen overnight. Start building your audience gradually. This phase is very important because you are building one habit at a time. You are reaching out to one new potential client at a time. One new referral source at a time. Gradually, go up to events, show up. Hi, my name is this. I can help you out with this. That's why I said you have to drop shame. If you are ashamed, you won't do anything. What did we do at the time? We had to. I gathered emails of business owners. I started sending emails, started sending DMs, and gradually started rebuilding from there. The next phase is what I call stabilize and structure. So now that you're building a bridge, you're reaching out more people. Next phase, which is very important, is for you to stabilize and structure so that you do not fall back into the same financial crisis that you went into earlier. So the next step, like I said, is just for you to stabilize and structure so that you don't fall into the same thing that made you plunge into financial crisis again. So by the time you have income coming in, no matter how small, please put a structure around it so that it does not evaporate. It was something I learned from my mom. She said this thing called money. If you don't have a plan for it, you will not be able. You will just discover that $100,000 passed through my hand. What did I use it to do? You can't give account. You can't even lay your hands and say, this is what I've been able to achieve. That's why sometimes you see people, they say they've gotten high income, and at the end of their life, there's nothing for them to hold on to say, this is what I've done. So once income start coming in, open a separate account immediately. They have the video I did 5 accounts you should have if you're building well. Open a separate account and move 20% of every dollar you make to it immediately. Let that be your emergency reserve. Let that be that fund that will keep you just in case any emergency comes up. Usually, as you begin to grow and as you begin to grow your income, I usually recommend that you have 6 to 12 months of emergency funds. Yes. So that if anything happens, you are sure that you have 1 year to absorb the shock and can be able to bounce back. So start putting it aside. Let it be your emergency reserve. Start, no matter how small, even if it's $1, $10, start building it. It's important you have that. And pay your bills, your most crucial obligations first, then put that aside gradually, and you would see where you have been. Let me tell you the truth. Here's what I've noticed in people and women who have built from rock bottom. Almost everybody at some point in business, you are going to hit that rock bottom. You don't resent crisis. You use crisis. Crisis is fat. It's a pillar that you build on for you to come back stronger. Your comeback game usually is going to be. I've not seen anyone who actually, a real business person that actually went through crisis and followed this step and got rid of shame and did what he or she needed to do to bounce back. Usually they bounce back 10 times more. Financial freedom is not that you have money stuck up somewhere. It's that no matter what happens, I can always bounce back. That alone is what many people do not have. And that's why sometimes you see that lottery winners go broke, because they've not built that stamina. So they cannot be able to give pound of it. So once everything goes down the drain, they are back to zero. So what is happening to you during this period is that you are building muscles, you are building character. And that is what is needed for long-term success. Every woman that I know that have gone through a major financial collapse came out at the other side. Usually, in fact, it is this season that you have clarity. It is this season that sometimes God strips you of a lot of things that does not fit into your next level. It is this season that you get clarity like never before. It is this season that, in fact, that's why when you rebuild and you come back is very strong. Sometimes it looks as if you cannot be able to survive. Sometimes it looks as if, how can I be able to come out of it? You look left, you look right, there is no way out. You see, in that phase, you are crying. You can't think of a way out. That is where a major breakthrough is. That point, that is where a major breakthrough is. You will know exactly what matters. You will know exactly who to cut off. You will know exactly what to do. That clarity is all you need. It's not even the strategy. Sometimes that clarity is all you need, and that is much more valuable than any money that you have lost. You sit back and then you realize your mistakes. You sit back and then you realize, this is where I went wrong. And then you learn not how to lose anymore, and you come back is stronger. And people look and say, it's not this woman. For if a man falls 7 times, he will rise up again and again and again. If the same thing to you as a woman. So sometimes that moment you got fired from your job, you lost your business, that is usually a redefining moment. Not because it's easy, but sometimes it's God redirecting you to where you are meant to be. God is redirecting you. That's why everything, sometimes when you move to the next level, everything around you collapses. What you are familiar with collapses. It's usually not an easy process, to be honest. But that crisis does not define you. What you build from that after does. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad. I won't say don't feel. You will. But what matters is I need you to calm down. You have survived hard times before. You will do it again. You already have the skills people are going to pay you for. And listen exactly what to do. Send this video to everybody that you know out there. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.